Hello, folks. How are you? It me. It is me. Yeah, I loaded up like a chill SNES music 3 hour compilation type of thing. Oh, I'm doing okay. I am still, ups and downs. I feel like I'm even more prone to existential crisis stuff lately than I normally am. It has been, yeah. Oh. But not totally like the obvious external sources, but the um like personal issues, mental health, physical health, stuff like that. So I'm just kind of getting started on trying to figure out what I'm doing for Scream at 12 here. I love this music. What is it? Oh, this is Bahamut Lagoon. I am digging into what we've done over the past like 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years. Guess not fully five. Scream Day has been very game focused the past few times. No, yeah, I'm. It's gonna be chill. It has to be chill because there's not enough, not enough time to do anything crazy. But I've been chatting with Craig about some potential stuff. What I'm doing right now is I'm looking at some of the old games. Yes. I mean, since the number on Scream a Day is year based, yes, that would be Well on the way towards the next millennium. Relatively easier to calculate the date than you might expect. I mean, this year's 12, right? So October 1st, 2025 is 12. 666 minus 12 is 654. So 654 years from now, on October the 1st, is when that one will be. But yeah, I'm looking through the past games. Honestly, it's a rare case of going back and looking at some stuff that I did, and some of it Craig did as well, where I'm like, we actually knocked that shit out pretty good. Although the one I'm currently looking at is not so good. I don't know if you guys remember the Maze game. The Maze game did not get a lot of play. In fact, I think I unveiled it and then never showed it again after one night. I think it was a one night release. It was not finished, was part of the issue. And um it was buggy, I think. I think it essentially broke immediately. And I have to tell you, like going back and looking at the code, I'm not surprised. I don't know what I was doing or thinking, but it's a shit show up in here. That's for sure. Thank you. Well, as we are going to be in general a bit more chill, I was thinking that what we might do or try to do, and I don't know how it's all going to go. So you're not allowed to hold me to anything. Um, but I was thinking of like a Scream a Day TV and or Scream a Day Arcade, and essentially take each of the games, uh, containerize them, and then build a sort of wrapper application that is also stream interactive, and you guys can choose what ones you want to play. And they all have some sort of a death condition, right? Like a game over condition. So I imagine load one up, you play until you die, and then it gives you the opportunity of, like, do you want to continue or do you want to switch to something else? It would be cool to do to bring back enjoyers for Scream a Day for sure. Man, I do feel like the maze game was pretty cool, despite the fact that I hate the code that I'm looking at. I think I was burned the fuck out. I think that's what happened because we were also doing the novel. And for some reason, I also did this. I didn't need to also do this. So that was my downfall, I think. One thing I can tell you is I'm not sure that the novel would be bring backable. Hi, Bibbine. How you doing? That's good. He was escorting you, and he was just completely in your dress. Uh, what did you miss out on? What are you familiar with? I can show off some stuff if you want. Hold on, please. One moment. I love this music. I have to make sure because I had various things open and I'm trying to make sure that I don't have anything that's like got secrets just exposed hanging out. We're not vibe coding over here. Quick, recap the last 13 years. What is this? It's a good clip. That is a good clip. Okay. Let me switch on over. I think things are fine. I think anyway. Sorry, I lost confidence instantaneously. Okay. All right. So this is one that the least of you probably ever even saw. And it's kind of fucked at the moment as well. So what you'll even be seeing will not be uh amazing. You remember? Yeah. So this is where I tried to build like an old school style dungeon maze crawler thingy. It's playing itself, solving the maze on its own. It's populated with these little depressed guys. Actually, it dodged that one because they walked at the same time. Ah, yes. So, and then this is where it immediately fell down. At least now. This is not because this is not the bug that it had before. This is because it doesn't have the ability to start a poll. Um, but the gameplay idea was very bizarre. It's almost like an Undertale kind of uh thing in a way. I mean, you may have the right to vote. I'm not sure. I'm not sure with the way the maze is written whether this is actually uh a thing. Oh, am I actually running this? Oh, well, maybe it can. Let's see. Game. Let's try this. This is written very badly, this maze game. Very, very, very badly. The I didn't compartmentalize certain things that should have been. Therefore, it kind of fails in stupid ways that are hard to fix. Yeah, Undertale mechanics with less explanation. It was kind of like non-standard battling, where it's more like you're having a discussion with a depressed creature. No, it still doesn't like that. It looked in the right place for it. But of course, well, I could have actually put localhost, I suppose. I don't know how much the server I wrote changed. Beneath Fable. Hey, bud, what are you doing? Why are you like, why'd you come in here and start tap dancing? Little dogs and their little claws. With the floor and how echoey this room is, and the fact that I have a microphone that picks that all up.
We've got Bionicle, whatever the fuck that is. And then we've got Bionicle, whatever the fuck that is.
1 month until 11 years. Wild to have subbed during the very first scrad, and yet here we all are now. Indeed, we are. BFA, thank you for 131 months. Very much appreciated. Yeah, I think the server is just different from how it used to be. But essentially, I was using that system of like sending a poll at you guys, and then you pick a thing. But the things that I'm offering you to do are kind of absurd, like attack, question, console, dismiss, evade. So it was essentially just going to be this really cryptic dungeon crawler. One thing of note here is that the way that I put this together, it doesn't have any fallback to function if the server doesn't exist, which is a big pain in the ass. The camera game, by comparison, looks like it was written by a genius. And it's weird because that was so much more like hacked together in a crazy way and crazy fast. I do have that here as well. And it's wild how much better of a game it is, despite how much more slapped the fuck together it is. I don't even know if I could say that I had more experience because I didn't. For the camera game, we used a completely different approach because Craig had actually kicked that project off, and the approach that he used was for it to live entirely inside of stream elements, essentially just to have access to the chat events, chat message stuff. And so it started small, and then I came in and I made it big. But we never moved off of that. However, the way that I wrote it is completely fail-safe somehow, and it's able to be run totally fine outside of stream elements with no chat. So if I kill the maze here, oh god, and then we go over here. So I'll fire it up, and it just works. And it has like console commands that I was using for testing, so I can do stuff like this. You'll note that I did update the camera, so it does the cool, nice, smooth, fancy zoom. Yeah. That's basically where I'm at, is like I'm evaluating like uh containerizing all of these, and oh god, I don't even know. What was the room command? I think you didn't have to do a prefix, right? You could just say the name of a room. But there were secret rooms. We just built like a confusing mess, right? I think that's what we did. I'm pretty proud of what Craig and I did here. Craig did awesome stuff, by the way. This whole room was Craig's creation. I had, I think, zero contribution to this room at all. None of the anomalies, none of the sounds, all Craig. Hey, Zick, how you doing? It's good to see you. Dude, yeah. Craig, the chair is my favorite. Doing bad. Oh no. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry to hear that. Do you mean because of like the all the fun stuff going on in the big wide world, our big special world? Yeah. I hope things personally aren't so bad. Boss, the fascism. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. Oh no. I'm sorry. Well, we're talking about silly stuff, silly games. So,
I just got something wet slapped across my face.
yes, Dizo. Thank you for 80 months. Very much appreciated. Go back to the best language, HTML. Yeah. I mean, I feel like what we put together here is pretty impressive. On my end, I'm extremely proud of the fact that this is just a web page. I've always been proud of that fact with this game here because it is not it doesn't use a framework or anything. There's no game framework behind this. Everything that you see is just literally a web page. Hot take, the web is good. Despite despite things. The web good actually. Uh no audio on the game? Yeah, we got audio. Ah, I see, I see. Yeah, the music might be a tad loud. It's also not playable by you right now because it's it is not getting any of the chat messages. So while it is running outside of stream elements, I need to make some enhancements to actually pull in Twitch chat and process it. But yeah, I am proud of this game. I think it's pretty cool. I still love this effect so much because it is totally it's just CSS, which I think is it doesn't feel like CSS, does it? I mean, it is CSS and JavaScript because of the fact that when I'm throwing this message through, um, I'm using CSS variables. So JavaScript is doing the calculation of what the final value should be, and then it sets them, and then CSS is just doing the transition stuff. So that's how that's working. Where does that even happen? Oh yeah. So there's yeah. Here's the camera. You can see translate stuff going on. So that's the panning, which JavaScript is. No. Actually, this is an animation as well. This is a CSS animation, I think. Camera pan, camera pan. Yep. Yeah, I had to have more modern transform properties. That was the problem. Because with the old way they were doing properties, you had to like you just couldn't do what I wanted to do because you only had the transform property, and it meant that you had to overwrite the entire transform property every time you changed it, which meant there were certain things you just simply couldn't damn do. But with the independent, like the standalone properties, you could do nicer stuff, and they wouldn't affect each other. That was the problem. I couldn't have like a scale and a translate without them overriding each other. Yes, the Vampire Survivor game was made in Phaser. So is the Maze game. Also, all the looks here are completely CSS as well, which is fun. I can turn that off for you. It almost looks better without. Wow, I don't think I've looked at this one without that effect on. That's crazy. Oh, garage door, huh? You think garage door maybe? uh, it's really just a photo. This also had a fully automated test system. So turn that on. I'll turn it all on. Auto camera, auto testing. Yes, that fucking room. They're so good at this. Um, I don't know if I ever fully explained, but you were punished for certain uh actions. So if you tried to, like, if you had foreknowledge and you were just spamming things that you knew would be on a scene, for instance, there's spider this on this screen, right? Spider. But if the spider wasn't there and when you just went to this scene and just started saying spider, 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 you would be hurt for every one of those attempts. So you would get hurt for saying keywords that went with a scene but were not currently active.
This should get us through for a couple weeks.
So Nakomi uh, bought a box of how many?
24.
24 leashes. 24
Tell
leashes.
them why.
Oh, I mean, I was gonna. It's because Chews threw them. We took them out to a dog park this weekend, and we went to get out of the car, and I grabbed his leash, and it turned out that his leash was now 1 foot long because while we were driving to the dog park, he sawed the leash off.
And he also chewed buns in half as well.
Oh yeah, and
So
buns,
she
and
got
buns.
out of the car,
She
took
had the
5
car, and she was
steps,
just
and then it just snapped.
yeah. Like Nakomi had the hold of the leash, and it just came off, and I'm like, loose dog, loose dog.
So now we won't be left in the middle of nowhere with no leashes.
Yeah.
So I have 24 5-foot leashes. We need to put half of them in the car.
Yeah. We have backup leashes now.
Also, one of the ones that he chewed in half, I had literally just bought. It had been on him for less than 15 minutes.
Yeah. It was a brand new leash, and he sawed through it instantaneously. Uh, these are various stock photos and not stock photos. It's all just photo manipulation stuff. No AI. A lot of stuff from Pexels. Some of them are more heavily edited than others. Like, for instance, I think The Office is a completely fabricated scene. It might be a completely fabricated scene. I'm not sure. Craig made that one. The bedroom is 100% a fabricated scene. This one here. And that's based off of Scream at A7 and the assets that we used there. This is another one that was done entirely by Craig. No, there was no. We didn't use any game engines because neither Craig nor I are very experienced with them. I've wanted to do stuff using game engines, and it totally crossed my mind to do so because obviously that's how observation duty is done, right? Observation duty is built in Unity, I think anyway. Yeah, it's a Unity game, and all of that stuff obviously is real in-engine scenes. But we also last year built this last minute. Didn't have time to invest in learning game engines to make stuff like that. So these are all Photoshops, essentially, one way or the other. Oh yeah, see. I mean, it would be a totally different prospect as well. Part of the trouble with these is trying to figure out what the what the implementation is going to look like in the end, right? Like the way that we built this, it was extremely convenient because of how portable it is. It's just a web page, right? It's HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and some assets. And that's pretty portable, pretty easy to display in OBS and hook up to Twitch chat and such. Whereas if we were using a real-time 3D scene, which is something that I do want to explore, that's not something that I have fucked with in this way yet. So I haven't really figured out how all of that would work. But I'm not opposed to it at all. I've had that on my mind for a long time, ever since I first started doing like the game stuff for OBS scenes and whatnot. Oh, true, yeah. That makes sense, see. Sorry, I just immediately went to like thinking about rendering it in real time. I guess because I'm a silly guy. So that's this game. I guess I haven't really shown off much. We do still have, of course, the Survivors game. But let me kill this first. Yeah, Survivors is definitely the one in terms of just of my own like ability to create a thing. I think maybe I'm the most proud of. Oh yeah. Okay, so this doesn't have a server or anything with it. It just goes. And it was built to work even without the server. Although I think actually it yeah. So it is going to involve you guys in this game now. Connection successful. Thank you, Kiki. So if you're not familiar, this one is a knockoff of the game Vampire Survivors. And you will actually be able to play this one. Starting in a second, after we get some experience. This is, it's also loading an unfinished map that I had been working on. There you go. Yep, there's a poll up right now. You can do /vote 1, 2, or 3. You don't have to use the Twitch interface. No, you guys had teleport. Teleport's not new. I actually don't know about that, see. Oh yeah, there's also the reward feature, which I think is disabled. So you won't be able to play with that right now, unfortunately. Oh wow, that's cool. See, I didn't know that they had anything like that. And they're interactive with viewers. So this is definitely the most game I've ever made. It's certainly the most complicated game thing that I've built. Still. It does please me to see all of this still working. I'm proud of that. It hasn't collapsed after not being touched for like 2 years. Oh, nice. That's cool. We had some good stuff in there. I really like the chest system, where if we start to fall too far behind the levels, it just gives you upgrades for what you already have. That really made up for the whole, like, falling way, way behind problem. Pretty much perfectly. Like, it takes away some agency from chat, but it's not a big deal, really. You still get to play and participate. That one guy just got triple stomped by the Yoshi beat for some reason. Maybe those are bugged. Were they? No, now they just went all over the place. That's weird. 2 times in a row, they all came down in the same spot for some reason. It was weird. Right.
Revisiting.
Yeah. This is still pretty good.
I don't know why, but I thought it was a lot faster paced.
I mean, it's pretty fast-paced in terms of...
I think I just meant animation-wise.
Oh, animation-wise, yeah, no, it's fairly chill in terms of that, but there's technically a lot of stuff going on at one time.
There is. In my head, it was just on fast forward. So.
I learned so much shit while I was doing this, like all of the enemy flocking things, and
Yeah.
there was so much stuff I was frustrated by as well.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I lost my mind a few times because I could not... There was some stuff I just could not
The
figure out.
pathfinding was not
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, pathfinding is actually super hard. I was really happy with getting the performance up, though. Switching over to using quad trees for figuring out everything with all the monsters so that we could have like 800 of them on screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, these monsters cannot navigate a complicated labyrinth. They just rub up against it because all they can do is basically go straight towards the player character. They make a huge difference. Yeah, there were a number of things that I was really struggling to learn because I just didn't have good examples, and I couldn't find any good examples. The pathfinding nav mesh stuff, and then the other thing was like when you want to have like fancy AI that seems like it's really thinking, where they have the basically they have like a little to-do list that they can freely switch between. I forget what that's called. Actually, I think it was also a node graph thing. It was a lot of it was coined in the development of Fear. Food knows what I'm talking about. Oh, nice teleport. That was why. Well, you know, I don't know why he walked into that enemy. It was not necessary. But that's what he did. By the way, for anybody who's not familiar, if it's not clear, I am not driving this. This is self-piloting. It's not the best by any means. Thank you, Kiki. I may have some fun debug stuff I could turn on, maybe. Maybe. Oh, God. Hmm. Oh, actually, I have like a ENV thing. I'm not sure if that has secrets in it or if it's just... I don't think it has secrets. Hold on. Let me look. That's probably where I set whether it's debug or not. It will keep bothering you with polls. Let's see. Skip title, start wait. Wait duration, level up. Debug. Oh yeah, I have the debug modal. Oh wow, yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Wonder if it's all controllable with the debug modal. Okay, so we should have a debug modal in game now. Oh, we do. Sick. Maybe this doesn't work anymore. That works. I feel like there should be something under global though. I think the other debug things have to be enabled for this to actually work. Weirdly. Like these ones here. I don't really remember. It's been 1,000,000 years. This might run very poorly as well, I think. Oh god. Oh yeah. Here's all of the debug things. Here you can see how the player thinks. It had this vision grid thing that I built. So basically it does like threat modeling. And so that's where the avoidance comes in. It's like basically saying, oh, it's really not good over there. I'm not going to go over there. And in fact, I'm going to go away from over there. I think these are still not... Yeah, I don't know. None of the monster movement stuff is hooked up anymore. I don't know why. This all basically just controlled, like, the flocking behavior, so they would, like, spread out or get closer together or whatever. I must have changed a lot of that behind the scenes, and so these just don't work now. I don't know that it would change anything, Flynn. I did notice a bug just there. The, I don't know if you see that, but when the... when the examination grid, or whatever you want to call this, when it exits the field, it keeps, like, the value disappears, but you can see that behind the scenes, it's actually still there. So whatever threat level it had, it actually was staying there outside of the playing field, which is interesting. Which is definitely not intended. See? See that down there? That corner's still hot. So that's probably influencing movement behavior a little bit, even though it shouldn't be. Circles and squares left on the ground are entities that are basically asleep and haven't been garbage collected yet. But you can see that they do go away eventually. They get basically reused because everybody is a list. It's all a list. It's actually here. It's like Monsters Pool, for instance. You can see the pool will go up and down, and that's because those are being reused. When more monsters spawn, it pulls from the pool, but there's a maximum amount that are allowed to be pulled from the pool. If it's affecting the grid, that wouldn't surprise me, because I'm sure there's many bugs in this still. Obviously, that wouldn't be intended behavior. That would be weird behavior. Trying to see if I can spot that happening. There's too many. I think it was. There was one moment there where there was a circle that was very much inside of the grid that looked like it was causing values. Yeah. Well, the more there are, the more, the higher the value, right? So it'd be much easier to see. Oh, that would have been a great... If only he would have went that way. That would have been a great opportunity to see. I love watching the little targeting from everything. Updating on the fly like that. Also, I'm really glad I got that clone system going. There was so much stuff that I had in this, because we were developing it on the fly every day. And it went through a long period of there being a lot of features that were all shit. Like, none of them worked correctly. Oh my god, look at this clusterfuck. On a PID controller? I forget the how the movement is implemented in terms of the detail. I'd have to dig through the code to look. Probably not correctly. Because you can see that it's making a shit ton of decisions very fast. So the blue line that's coming out of Co, or the teal line, it's probably really hard to see because of all the green lines, but the teal line is the directional choice. And you'll see that that's just sort of blasting all over the place. And essentially, the movement is kind of lerping between those choices. You can see that's why the movement is kind of jittery. Yeah, I probably didn't do it very, very nicely. Which is why he's kind of shaky. I had a lot of trouble translating between the weird jank that I was making and... Oh yeah, look at that. Evidence. Evidence. We had lots of evidence there. Yeah, look at that. Boom. Yeah. So the sleeping or dead monsters are absolutely affecting the grid, 100%. Caught in 4K. It initially was totally random movement here. Surprisingly, it was pretty effective. At the beginning, it was totally random, and it still kind of looked like this somehow. But I think that's because the monsters are always approaching, well, except for when you have the clone ability, they're always approaching the character, right? So even if it's just totally random movement, it kind of looks like this. The trouble with totally random movement is that the character here would just swim into the crowd of monsters and insta-die. Because it had no sense of avoidance whatsoever. And then, like, my next iteration was just literally... If... I don't remember. It was like I would just get the closest monster and then invert its directional movement so that you were always avoiding, but then that would update in a crazy way because as more and more monsters got closer or would start to kind of compete for being the closest, it would swap wildly, and so the character movement became insane. Look at that. So it's still pretty random in the sense that, like, the character doesn't actually seek to kill the monsters. That is purely happenstance. So the only thing the character does here is avoid. And I try to have it avoided in an imperfect way, right? So it looks kind of like it's a player. But it's not actually trying to attack the monsters. That's just purely the fact that, like, I have the character turn left or right to face the closest monster. And then all of the attacks do all of the work. So, like, the sword, for example, doesn't target anything. It's just whether or not the hitbox happens to be facing left or right, and whether it intersects with the hitbox of an enemy. But, like, with the arrows and the Yoshi feet, those will, for example, pick a target and launch at it. They're not guaranteed to hit. The target could move out of the way. So when the arrows come down from the sky, they've actually picked a monster and they're just going down towards the floor. Or actually, I think the arrows might be completely random locations. I think they are. But the Yoshi feet pick a monster to target and they fall towards it. But the monster could move out of the way. The vinyls also will pick a target and then launch. They're not totally random. So, and I did that because it would get quite frustrating to watch, like, when you're down to like one monster and the vinyls are going and they're just not going at the monster. They're just going across the screen fruitlessly and you're just like, fucking, come on, just hit the fucking monster. So the only, like, real targeting of any enemies at all is in the actual attacks themselves. The most deliberate one is probably the gun, because the gun, you see it, like, rotate around him and then it'll pick a monster and just obliterate it. It's just how the gun works. Yeah, so it's totally avoidance movement is basically how it does. Yeah, it's kiting. Yeah, that's a good word for it here. It's basically I'm simulating a kiting type of movement. I do wish it was better than it is, but I am glad it's as good as it is. It works well enough for us to have a game that you guys can play, which is fun. Thank you, beer. So, yeah, the plan is that I would like to turn each of these into a container that just has everything it needs, so it can, like, it has a web server, it can just run, and then have all of them have some external configurables, probably environment variables or something along those lines, so that I can specify where the server lives. And then the approach with all of these was that I had this separate server that I wrote that handles all of the Twitch communication stuff. So they talk to that, and then that talks to Twitch. So I just need to get that all set up so that they all have the ability to do that. And then I basically just permanently run my little Twitch server on my home server here. And then I should be able to, like, essentially just Docker up and down whatever game I want to run on the stream, and it'll just be able to talk to my existing Twitch server, and then it should be pretty trivial from there to do, like, a sort of arcade selector thing for you guys where you choose what game you want to play. I'll have to add some additional some additional functionality to some of these to report, like, hey, the player died. Do you want me to keep going or pause or what? Just because that's a logical choice point. And then the maze, I'll have to just debug altogether and try to get that working. Which, that'll be fun, because I don't even remember totally what my intentions were. And unfortunately, I don't think the novel will come back. Because the way that we did that was insane. And it changed in ways to where you guys were getting every night a unique version of the game that no longer existed on the following night, and so on and so on. You were having basically a unique live experience that does not exist anymore. It doesn't exist in code or in assets or anything. So that's basically impossible to recreate. And thus I don't know that I will bring that back. Yeah, it was... No, I did source control it. I'm saying that it was, even with, well, okay, I guess because it's source controlled, but I mean, it only lives in the history in a way that would be like, I guess, you know, you're basically saying that it technically is possible, but boy oh boy, unraveling that, I don't know. Also, the assets did not live in the source control. A description of what it was? It was my first go at a interactive stream game. Nakomi and I worked on it. Nakomi's my wife, if you're not... I don't know how familiar you are here with me and my lore, but Nakomi and I worked on it together. She did the writing and scripts and stuff, and I did the development and the art. And it was the first one that we built where it essentially did this poll stuff. So you guys are getting polled right now. Okay, all right, okay. I'm sorry. Don't yell at me. But yeah. So that was my first attempt at doing something where you guys control the game using polls, and it was basically a visual novel. So there would be some dialogue would play out. It was all automatic, and then it would get to a choice point, and a poll would come up in chat, and chat would choose the choice point, and then things would happen. Now, what occurred was that we had to become liars because we were not able to create the game fast enough. Like, we essentially had to force chat to lose or die. Sometimes in unfair ways, behind the scenes, because it was necessary. Aha, see, now this is where this is detrimental, right? Because he won't move away from the edge because he thinks that there's all these monsters. So he's actually trapped on the edge at the bottom because of the dead monsters being counted. That's really a weird bug. I'm amazed that I didn't fix that or catch that. It's not good. Probably not a hard fix. Just filter out ones that are marked as dead. Anyway. So because of that, there were paths that you guys went down that essentially became overwritten over time by like the next iteration, because we arbitrarily killed you so that we had more time to fill out the story, and then the story got filled in so that what was a dead end was no longer a dead end, and yada 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 yada. Does that make sense as to how it became that way? That's why, yeah. I was about to say, BFA is always one step ahead of me. That's why there were so many Trucksama deaths. Cornered. Cornered to death. The other problem with this implementation that I never solved was that if there's an obstacle, like right here at the beginning, there's these pillars. He can get stuck to those because there's no resolving, like, seeing past the obstacle. It really needs to be more like ray based, so that if there's any of the grid that is blocked by an obstacle in a ray shooting out from the player, should just, that whole part of that grid that the ray touches should be disabled. But it unfortunately would cause the player to essentially get stuck to things like trees or gravestones or anything that's just like a small obstacle. Just get really stuck to it. Very glued to it. That was basically the story, Doug, yeah.
I know you guys don't see any of that. I see all of that.
Axel, thank you for 106 months. Very much appreciated. So basically, maybe what this year will be a sort of like Scream-A-Day Master Collection. You know what I mean? The DVD special features of Scream-A-Day. I didn't see if you remembered like what the thing was I was referring to with AI food that I never managed to get going on my own. It's whatever that AI system was that Fear had. But it essentially, it's some sort of a graph of behaviors, but it results in like supernatural seeming choices and stuff. AI choices. It's probably like, I would imagine that it would have to be the type of system that RimWorld would use, for instance, where each entity probably has its own little special to-do list that it works through, but those can be overridden. Like, it's a weighted to-do list type approach. It has a name, I just can't remember what it was. Yeah, I mean, I still have all the stuff. Maybe that could be part of it too. You know, you can choose to play one of the games, or you could choose to load up one of the old intros. Just really make it like a DVD special features. I get lost in watching this. It's so mesmerizing. Ah, yes, scope. Goal-oriented action planning. Yeah, I was never able to figure that out, Food. I wanted to do that so bad. Not for this, but just... I wanted to play around with like a more... something similar to this, but with more automaton behavior type of stuff going on. That's the type of stream game I wanted to experiment with next. I've talked about it before, but I had this idea in my mind of like that everybody could be sort of assigned their own little automaton that has stuff to do and whatever, and I never got past that first hump. performant pathfinding and performant goal assignment, essentially. Thinking about the dungeon exploration game. Were you here earlier, Rapscallion? Or no? Because I did have that up. It is unfortunately very broken. It is big busted. But yeah, I have it as well. What happened to my menu bar here? Oh, there we go. So yeah. You were thinking of this. Yeah, I only ever let you guys play this one time, and I think it immediately broke, and then I was like, well, that's that. It's still broken, by the way. This is now... It got to the point that it can get to, and now it is not going to continue. It was a week, really? I felt like it was just one night. At any rate, I'm definitely going to fix it up. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe there was more going on there. The hardest thing with this was making this fake 3D work. I just really wanted to do an old school style fake 3D environment, and it was so difficult. Um, I think that was not the issue. I mean, the way it's behaving now, it seems like it's fine. Oh, I still have some controls. I can zoom the map in and out. That's neat, right? I guess that's maximum. That's the full map right there. You can see all the little monsters moving on it. You guys probably can hardly see that, actually. That's probably not much better, but yeah. Forgot that was in there. There's the whole map. I also really loved the style of the monsters, the way they look and the way that they like talk to themselves and whatever, and move around the map on their own. Truly, it is a map for ants. I also had this bizarro health system thing. I'm definitely gonna fix this up. I wanna fix this up so that we can enjoy it. I think it was cool. It's just busted right now. I'm annoyed that it doesn't seem like I don't know how to just play it myself is the thing. I just don't remember. Like it has settings. For instance, Twitch is set to false. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not, or why it's still trying to do polls, but it is. Because it comes down into here. Down here. Encounter. Actions timer. Things happening. This should not happen. Ugh, God, this is horrific. This. Okay, yeah, start poll. We tried to start a poll while dead. This is a bug. I think when I built this, I hardly had any idea what was going on. Create poll data. If not Twitch, set duration to 1. If Twitch enabled, request to start poll, which we don't do. Oh, well. Okay, maybe I wonder if it will work if I set Twitch to true. I have no idea. Probably not. There might have been a case where you could end up with 2 monsters on the same square. That sounds like something that I made. Okay. Oh. Hey, Lindley, thank you for the biddies. Okay, so that also didn't work. I think the server that I have now just doesn't have those features anymore. WebSocket was closed. That's probably survivors. Polls, current polls. Get polls, start poll. Just curious if I could like hook it back up again. I don't know though. It's gonna take more effort to unravel what is going on with this. That's for sure. What I'd like is for it to just be in sort of a debug mode and not try to read poll results that don't exist. That would be great. And like I could just write that, but I'm trying to figure out like surely I did this. Cuz I don't know. I might have stupided it up in trying to force it to be ready for live usage, and then only for it to now be in this weird state of like doesn't work live or not live. Suspended. Now what's that about? Is it suspended? It is moving. Running. Oh, weird. It's that's like whether or not it's foregrounded, I guess. That's strange. Whether or not it's foregrounded. Yeah, it just barrels into checking for poll results, and it's using this is a weird mix of like phaser stuff and not phaser stuff in a truly awful way. Just very, very ugly. I'm struggling to understand how to just God, the speaking, the talking. Oh God, this stuff. Ugh. Yeah, I feel like it initially was entirely playable without Twitch interaction, but I guess I didn't preserve that because it has controls. Yeah, like technically I can drive, but I assume that's overridden. Oh, I escaped. Okay, so technically I guess I'm not preventing, despite there being an active encounter. I guess I just didn't see the need to like make that safe, did I? I can still, I guess I can go around. Go around and look at them. They won't encounter with me because I'm technically in an encounter, so I can just go look at them and they'll just talk. Was this a me creature or a 6 creature? 6 contributed a few. This looks 6-ish, but I'm not sure. Oh, yep. There they go. That was the bug. There goes the this one, this one is definitely me. I guess it doesn't look like my style. But also it kind of looks like my style. I feel like I remember drawing it and being happy with the whole, like, it looks like it's pressing against the ceiling thing with its top hand. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not your fault. Smoke inside. Ugh. Ah, yeah, this one. I'm not sure if any of these are 6s. Feel like she made like a big kind of shark looking guy. Or something along those lines. Anguish. Yeah. They all have a sort of timer where they speak. It's so dark. The UI is at least still really trying to do something over there. I feel like this will
100 huge months.
inevitably has to crash eventually because what's happening here is every time I walk into one of them, I think it is triggering an encounter, despite what I said before. And because of that, every time that happens, that poll text is getting kicked further into the like negative space off the left of the screen. So eventually that'll hit some kind of numbers that computers don't like. Clairvoyant Nara, thank you for 100 months. Very much appreciated. Yeah, that text really hauled ass out of town. Yeah, I should port this probably to just the latest phaser. Preserve the code that's not completely shit, and then replace a bunch of it with just stuff that works. That's what I should do. I feel like we are... This can't be all of the monsters. But I guess it is. Hello, Dave. We are visiting the old ruins of things that I built. In this case, my depressed monster maze. Very fun. I was also really proud of how the sort of depth fog looks. I don't remember how that was achieved, but I think it's literally just distance from camera and brightness levels. I think that's it. I think it's as complex as it gets. This one is really uncomfortable when you're right on top of it. It takes up too much screen. Oh yeah, Blowback season 6. Let's go. Uh, I really don't know what I was thinking with this at all. It's just chaos. I don't know if it's even really compelling. The monsters say upsetting things. Oh God. Oh no. Oh, it is very much trying to do all sorts of things in the background. Yeah, this game is just deeply broken. The fact that there's some missing creatures, I think, implies as well that wherever I worked on this last time, I might not have checked in the latest stuff, which is sad. And then, yeah, also with the novel, I can't even resurrect it. It just doesn't. A shit ton of the assets are missing, and I don't know what happened to them. I don't know where they are. So I don't know. I'll fix this stuff up at some point. Uh yeah, empathy is made up. Oh no, if a yeah, I am ultimately a despicably disorganized person, unfortunately. I will like make efforts towards organization and then I will sort of drop the ball. And it's a real drag. It's a real drag. Boy, this game is a mess. Yeah, for sure. It's some behind the scenes. I think I've shown off some of this stuff before. Um, but yeah, I mean, I figured I'm just revisiting it. Why not? Take a look and kind of give you guys some insight and input into what I'm thinking about for Screamy Day 12. It's all contingent on what the hell can be figured out over the next basically 1 week. That's the time limit. Whatever can be squeezed into 1 week is all we're going to be able to do. Oh, I'm tuckered though, folks. It is not a lot of time, no. I think I'm gonna get on out of here. Thank you very much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, if any of you are interested in helping me out here and there, I will I'll mention or pop into the programming channel on the Discord. If I run into trouble, or I'll just mention what I happen to be working on and you can give me your pro tips, that sort of thing. I'll keep that in mind, Kiki. All right, everybody. Have a lovely night. I will see you next stream.